I'm Sudha Jamthe. I'm here to tell you what is the autonomous vehicle business space. At a minimum, people think about the automakers, the OEMs, and their value chain, the suppliers and dealers, the extended value chain of automakers as table stake. Next, people think about rideshare companies like Uber, Lyft, BlaBlaCar, which are disrupting taxi and mobility in general. Third, they think about logistics, transportation, trucking, fleet management. That is also part of some kind of vehicles. And some people add, the stack of companies that are building out the autonomous tech stack and say that is the AV space. I want you to get creative and expand your horizons. Think about every industry that is going to be disrupted. Today, it might not be autonomous in any sense of the way, but it might be becoming connected and it is going to be disrupted in some way towards a smart mobility space. Think about what does it take to build the entire autonomous vehicle for it to be successful. What is the technology stack? And are there any gaps that you could actually contribute? So maybe you could create maps for autonomous vehicles. You could create some kind of layer of technology there. There could be a business there. The second thing is think about the value chains that is being disrupted. Think about an industry, tourism, how is it going to be disrupted? Or emergency vehicle services, how is that being disrupted? Or smart city, how is that going to be disrupted? So if you pick a specific industry, then again you can find problems that are potentially being solved using autonomous vehicles or using connected vehicles in the near future, tending towards autonomous vehicles into the future. That's how I would suggest you think about that. And so the third thing is think about a problem that you want to solve today. The whole power of anything connected, Internet of Things and connected vehicles is we can solve problems that we have learned to live with in a very interesting way. Interesting is kind of an understatement. For a business person, I would say interesting way it means a very disruptive way. A florist who sits in Main Street and sets up their shop visually for their customer. And now, with smart mobility, maybe a visually impaired person can come to the shop. And that is a new segment of customers. When they come into the shop, how is the shop set up for these customers? When they cannot see the flowers, you'll have to make sure the smell is enhanced and they're communicated to right. And so think about smart mobility and all the different segments of customers who are going to get mobility, different conveniences that's caused by mobility, different industries that are disrupted by that. And of course, the tech stack to make all of that happen. So that's how I would define autonomous vehicle business space. And I think we've barely scratched the surface and it's waiting for you to come and build amazing businesses. Here's my framework to build out an autonomous vehicle business. So the first step is you start by defining a problem that you want to solve. Next, you come up with a potential solution. Between the problem and the solution, you'll have to do the 5 whys to figure out why does this problem exist to arrive at the solution. And there are many different solutions possible. You might come with one solution and somebody else might come with a different way of solving the same problem. So the first is the problem, the second is the solution. The third piece is understanding who is the customer. Here, I want you to know the difference between the consumer and a customer. A consumer is somebody who's going to benefit from this. They might be the same one who's a customer, but a customer is somebody who's going to pay for it. So the way I would define the customer is somebody who has the problem and who has the purchasing power. So that is the problem plus purchasing power creates demand, and that is the customer. And is this customer available in large scale for you to build out a viable business? Then you have arrived at the business definition. Bikers are not safe sharing the road with car drivers. That's the problem that we want to solve for. So if you take that as a problem as a starting point, then think about potential solutions. And one solution could be that we put sensors on bikers for them to understand whether there's a car in proximity and drive safely. Another option is we want the cars to have separate lanes from the bikes, or to make sure the road has bike lanes. So you could look at those and say, hey, that's a regulation problem, or the solution involves regulation, and I can't solve it. So you could still create a technology business to solve for it. Here's how. So if we want the bike lanes to exist in all the roads, and where they don't exist, it's not safe, you could actually create a video covering the roads. Data in this case is video of the road. So this could be a connected or autonomous vehicle mapping business. You build up this video asset either by crowdsourcing, or you could actually scour around with your own vans and collect this data. Waze actually collects live traffic conditions on whether there are cops in the road, and all that people mark in the cars by using the Waze app. And so you could actually launch that as an app for bikers to actually say, hey, here's the video of my road where I'm driving. You could run some kind of machine learning AI algorithm to find out where the roads have the bike lanes or where they don't have it. Mark that. And now we have found a solution. So the first step was the problem, that bikers are not safe sharing the road with cars. The second thing that we did is a solution, which is come with a tech solution of a Waze-like app for bikers to create the map of the roads to show whether the bike lane exists or not. Now the third piece you do is, now who is the customer? You could obviously help the bikers, so they are your consumers. If you launch this to the bikers and say, hey, here's an app, pay 99 cents for it, it's not a big scale business. So I would not recommend that. So leave the bikers as the consumers. You could go to the city and say, here's data that will help you make that decision. Or you could actually create this as another vertical stack of an existing AV map business like DeepMap. And you could go to the OEMs who are building up autonomous vehicle tech and say, here, I have the map, and it also helps bikers. And so there's several different ways of going about it. But figure out the solution for a problem, then find the customer. The next step, then we can figure out what is the channel to the customer, and then the business model. But as of today, this is the 3 steps we did. And that would be a great starting point to figure out what is an autonomous vehicle business in any space, any industry, any problem that you want to solve. Thank you.